I don't often give a halacha class with stories ripped from the headlines. I don't like to get involved in sensationalization from journalism and from media headlines, but this case was particularly interesting because it involves a lot of factors that have a lot of victims involved in the results of this case. The case that I saw was a case of a personal trainer not conducting himself very appropriately at a gym in Yavneh in Israel. And the accusation was that he was having an affair with multiple clients of his at this gym. And one of the husbands was concerned about this behavior and decided to enter into the system storing the security videos of the gym where this trainer worked. And he found offending material demonstrating some of the adultery that had been going on, some of that conduct, and shared it on social media with other people in his neighborhood. So there's a lot to unpack over here. But here are some of the halachic issues that I see coming up as a result of this. Number one, when it comes to adultery is prohibited by the Torah. It's one of the 10 Commandments. It's a big no-no. As with all cases of adultery, a couple is only liable to that when they have entered into proper kiddushin and chuppah, which is always done for marriages in Israel. So all valid marriages are going to have problems of adultery. Adultery will apply whenever a wife goes ahead and cohabits with a Jewish man that is not her husband, and that has serious consequences. The number one consequence is that it will end her marriage. That is the number one thing, and the husband has to actually take a number of activities before it is ended. So if he is the one who discovers the offending material, he has to bring a cause of action in a beis din. He has to go ahead and go to beis din and say, I have corroborating evidence to suggest that my wife has been unfaithful. Okay, corroborating evidence, but does that mean that she forgoes any financial support after the dissolution of the marriage? No. You can say that you want to end it. Sometimes if it's corroborating enough, it could be a problem. That's where some of the video information comes in. Interestingly enough, in Israel, they've had cases like that. In the beis din system, they've accepted video evidence. They've had cases where a private investigator has followed along and brought in video evidence. However, interestingly enough, the Supreme Court in Israel threw out some of that evidence itself, determining that it was not obtained legally. So big fight between the Supreme Court in Israel and the Batei Din in Israel. Interesting things to think about. So if the husbands here in this case decided to believe that their wife was unfaithful, there'd be a lot to look at, more than just the video evidence, to see if they could corroborate that. The other victims in this thing are the women who are probably guilty by association, but not because they did anything wrong. So no one ever suspected anything, but now because they were all connected to this one personal trainer, people would look at it and say, oh, maybe she was also unfaithful to her husband. So you have another issue to deal with, what's known as a kol, where people create a rumor. And that rumor is that perhaps she was unfaithful. The thing is that in halakha, rumors are unsubstantiated unless they're connected to some witness testimony. So when a rumor is generated, the beis din requires witnesses to step forward and corroborate the rumor. If the rumor is uncorroborated, then there is nothing more that you need to do, and a person can go on with their life. That's where we enter into the third part of the victimhood over here, which is the rechilus that's involved, talebearing. This is actually another serious offense which is prohibited by the Torah. One is not permitted to go as a rochel, as a talebearer amongst their people. The Torah prohibits this. There have been multiple volumes written by this, especially by the Chafetz Chaim, but for millennia, we've known that these things are prohibited. So for the husband who has gone ahead and initiated a public rebuke of his wife or other people's spouses, to do so publicly like this is a serious violation of a Torah prohibition of rechilus. Whether or not she did something wrong, it won't affect her ability to function in society. And the instrument for dealing with this issue was to take it to court and not to spread the story like wildfire. To simply humiliate someone is prohibited by the Torah. So even though they may have been hurt, they may have felt wronged, the way to calm those feelings and to deal with them appropriately is to deal with them in court, not to publicly humiliate someone. Because in the words of Chazal, the act of humiliating someone is equivalent to almost killing them, and an act of murder is a serious crime and a serious offense. Because one should rather throw themselves into the fire than humiliate someone publicly. That's the story of Tamar and Yehuda. She refused to humiliate him until the very last moment when she revealed that he was the father of her children, and it's something, an important life lesson to learn. So while I hope no more incidents of these occur in Israel or anywhere else, I hope it's important that we take important Musar Haskel, important moral learnings and teachings from this type of behavior, and all become better as a result.